What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, just a little bit of news on the Tyre Nichols case. We ain't had none on this channel in a little while, but the news may come as a surprise to some people, to me, and those have been following me, taking on, doing videos about this case. This is not a surprise. News out of Memphis, the federal court judge denied these 5 officers. They denied a motion for them to have the trial moved out of Memphis. So the trial will be in Memphis. Now, this is a temporary thing. I don't know if this could change over time, but this is good news as far as the case. It's good news for me, too, because when I travel down here for this case, I ain't want to go to Knoxville. I think that's where they wanted to move it to, Knoxville, the defense. They wanted to move the case over there to Knoxville. But I mean, I'll play what, is out in the news and what they're saying so far, but there's one motion I wanted to talk about. And after this, we'll talk about it. Take a look.
Well, the federal trial in the Tyre Nichols death case, that trial's going to stay in Memphis, at least for now. 4 of the 5 former Memphis police officers charged with federal rights violations in connection to the beating death of Tyre Nichols were back in court today. Fox 13 investigative reporter Kayla Solomon breaks down what else we learned.
The reason given by a federal judge to decide against a change of venue motion is because he says there's no evidence of prejudice when it comes to the jury pool at this time. But he did say he'd leave the door open for either defense attorneys or the federal government to refile that motion at a later time. The reason given by a federal judge to not grant the change in venue motion is because he says there's currently no signs of prejudice when it comes to that jury pool. But he did leave the door open for defense attorneys or the federal government to go ahead and refile that motion if they choose to within the next few months. Now, a lot of scheduling happened during Thursday's hearing. We now know the dates when motions will be filed, the deadlines for responses to those motions, and we also know that about a month from now there will be 2 days set aside to go through that motion to sever. That will mean that if granted, the defendants could possibly get separate trials. We also know that there will also be a motion to discuss the jury questionnaire, which is what people will be able to answer before they're able to serve on this jury. That federal judge did also add that we are still slated for a September trial. Now, again, this is for those federal criminal charges. There will still be a separate trial that will happen on the state criminal charges, as well as that federal civil case that are both still pending. In downtown Memphis, Kayla Solomon, Fox 13 News.
Guys, that's the news of what's out. I mean, not really nothing new, but a couple of things I want to bring up real quick. They still going to set the federal trial still set for February, right? Now, Memphis is going after this federal trial. And it's said by the Memphis prosecutor, whatever the feds have that, sentenced them to, the state's going to match it. Now, in a way, that's a good idea. And that's a smart move by them. And I'm going to tell you why. That happened out there in that city. They make the federal government go first with their assessment. Remember, there was a civil rights issue with the case and how they treated Tyre Nichols, these 5 idiots over here. All of a sudden, the city of Memphis goes behind the federal government because if it's a civil rights crime, so on and so forth. Whatever them guidelines are, they're going to match it. Now you can't really say anything bad about Memphis because they're going behind what the government does. So I think that, that kind of makes sense. But check it out. I just wanted to bring that up. 2 motions they were talking about. First one is motion of jury questionnaire, meaning they want to, you have a right to pick your own jury or whatever. People, but the jury questionnaire, they're going to have a questionnaire. The defense has a right to argue the questions and want to change up some of the questions, either take them off or add questions. I don't know how that's going to fix anything. This case has been shown all over the world. People have come to this channel from all over the world and said, hey, it's messed up what happened to this guy, Tyre Nichols. Who don't know about this case? Now I'm gonna tell you something. This, like in other cases, you know, it had a lot of outrage and anger in it when it was first brought out to light. It has since fizzled down because it's, you know, out of sight, out of mind. Now, this thing will kick back up when we get closer to September. In fact, next month, like they said, you're going to start hearing more and more news about this going into this slated September trial. So all of these defense lawyers are going to have to do whatever they got to do to make this thing, you know, get everything right for them to defend these clients who have no snowball chance in hell of winning. That's the thing that's crazy. These guys are doomed and they know it. So that questionnaire, what are you going to put on there? Somebody knows too much about what happened. They can't be a juror. This whole thing is dumb to me. Another thing is this, the motion to sever. Now, I understand this. They want to do a motion to sever, meaning they can have separate trials. If they're brought up as a group, and I know the lawyers converge with each other, talk with each other, and these people, you know, as far as their clients, they know the history and how it looks. These guys did this as a group. They want to separate them to where when they go to trial, you can see a different side of each person and make them more of an individual more than just a group. This is kind of like the situation with the goon squad. They was charged as a group. You don't think these guys watched that? And they got smoked in the feds. These dudes right here most likely will get more time than them because they're getting double sentences from two different places. Think about that. So they might wind up getting more time. I'm sure these lawyers looked at that. Hey, we need separate trials. We don't want them all standing in the courtroom at the same time because no matter what, the jury, the public, they see them all together. Last time they was together was when Tyre Nichols was beat to death. So they trying to eliminate that to have it to where each trial, a little bit of who they are can be brought into their defense. It don't matter. And the thing that's messed up is if these people, these 5 people up here, I'm not gonna call them officers, these 5 people really thought that what they were doing was good, true, natural policing, we have real problems out here as far as, you know, policing, what was deemed good policing across the United States. Because the thing that makes me mad about this whole thing, and I've said this multiple times, the way that man looked right there in that hospital bed, and the way he looked before that, just standing up there smiling, there's no way a simple arrest goes from that to that. You got 5 people there. 3 of them played football in college. You couldn't subdue a man that's built like licorice and put his hands behind his back. It's hard for me to even talk about this. But anyway, the trial is set in February. This goon squad thing, like I said, the way they handled them, because the feds, you notice those people that in the goons, they all got all different time, even though they all was there. Now, nobody saw what they did in the house. They only had eyewitnesses accounts of what the 2 gentlemen in Mississippi said happened. And they got different time. Now, imagine these 5 people, we had a whole bunch of witnesses, millions of witnesses that watched that video. Some of them people be in the courtroom. Hopefully I'll be able to be in the courtroom. You got people seeing you do it. So all this, I'm innocent and all of this stuff, I don't know what you're fighting for. The rope is burning at both ends. We'll see. But anyway, I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. May Tyre Nichols rest in peace. And like I say, maybe his family gets some closure after all of this, even though you can't replace the life that was lost. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.